All right, let's dive into a really cool idea today. It comes from a homily for college students, and it completely reframes our spiritual life by picturing it as a massive game day in a packed stadium. It's a game changer, so let's get right to it.
You know that sound, right? Even if you're not at the game, but just somewhere nearby, you can feel it. That roar from a stadium is just unmistakable. It's this wave of pure energy that tells you something huge is going down. That feeling, that sound, is exactly where we're going to start today. So, this brings us to the super famous line from the Epistle to the Hebrews. And when we hear cloud of witnesses, most of us probably picture something kind of, floaty and hazy, like actual clouds in the sky, right? But what if the people who first heard this pictured something completely different? And this is where it gets really, really cool. To get what's going on, you have to rewind and think about the language they were using back then. So let's ask the question, what else could the word cloud possibly have meant to them? Boom, there it is. The Greek word nephos, yeah, it meant a cloud in the sky, but it was also slang for the highest seats in an arena, the cheap seats, what we would call the nosebleeds. All of a sudden, the entire image just flips. We're not just being watched from above, we are literally in a stadium. And it gets even better. The text says we are surrounded by this cloud. The original Greek here implies something that's piled high on every single side. It's not just a few people watching. The image here is of a stadium that is absolutely packed to the rafters, an insane, overwhelming crowd. Okay, so if we're in a stadium, it must be game day, and that means we need to know who's on the team, and more importantly, who exactly is filling all those seats. So check this out. The whole spiritual team has a structure. Think of God the Father as the team owner. Jesus is the team manager, the one calling the plays. The Holy Spirit, that's the team animator, the hype man, the energy on the field. And the players? Well, that's you. That's all of us. This sets up two major groups. You've got the people up in the stands, in those cloud seats. That's the cloud of witnesses, the saints, our family, our friends who've already finished the race. And then you have us down on the field. We're the church militants, the ones still in the game, running the plays. So if we're the ones on the field, we need a playbook, right? We need to know the moves. And thankfully, that very same passage in Hebrews gives us a super clear four-step game plan. The playbook is simple. First, remember that huge crowd. You are never, ever alone. Second, remove everything that's weighing you down, all the sin and distractions that trip you up. Third, run your race with perseverance. Look, this is a marathon, not a sprint. And finally, number 4, always, always refocus on your manager, on Jesus, the one who perfected the game. And listen, this isn't some casual pickup game we're talking about. The stakes are incredibly high. Jesus himself talks about the intensity of this whole mission. Okay, setting the earth on fire sounds pretty intense, doesn't it? But this isn't a fire of destruction. Think of it more like a forge, a purifying fire that burns away the junk and creates something strong, something holy. It's the fire that makes heroes of the faith, the kind of players that end up in the Hall of Fame. And to make this really concrete, just think about a university's own Hall of Fame. It's basically their cloud of witnesses, right? The homily this is based on was from the University of Florida, so it lists some of their greats. But every school has them, those legends whose stories inspire everyone who comes after. And that is the perfect parallel for Heaven's Hall of Fame. Of course, it's got the big names, the all-stars like St. Francis and St. Augustine. But it also includes the people we know, our parents, our spouses, our friends, everyone we love who lived a life of faith. They're in the stands. And here is the absolute best, most comforting part of this whole thing. That crowd, they are not there to judge you. When you mess up, when you stumble, when you drop the ball, they don't boo. They've played the game. They know how hard it is. They are your biggest fans, and they are cheering their absolute loudest for you to get back up. Now, this idea of a giant cosmic stadium is incredible, but it can also feel a little distant. So let's bring this whole thing right down to our own lives, to our home field. I want you to just think about your own church or your community space. You are sitting in the same seats, you're kneeling in the same spots where thousands of people have prayed before you. They praised, they thanked, they complained, they lived. They are your local great cloud of witnesses. Their prayers are practically mixed into the walls.
and they are cheering you on right now, right where you are.
So let's end on this thought. The next time you feel alone, or you stumble, or you just feel like you can't go on, I want you to picture that stadium. Picture the saints, the heroes, and the faces of every person you've ever loved and lost, all piled high on every side, on their feet, roaring for you. The question isn't if you have a crowd, it's who's in it.